Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a Books Beside My Bed video for you. This is my weekly reading video series where I wrap up the books that I have read in the last 7 days. This is my reading week from the 25th of April until the 1st of May. I read a total of 3 things this week. It was a much slower reading week for me. I read a total of 893 pages and my yearly reading total is 156 books. The first book that I read this week was Counterfeit Love by Jessica Gadziala. This is the second book in the Legacy series, which I have not read the first book because I didn't realize that there was a first book when I picked it up, but that's okay because you could read it without it. It is a dark romance and there are content warnings in here for kidnapping. There is also mentions and implications of child abuse, sexual abuse, and rape, so be aware of that going into it. A lot of it happened in the past and has an impact on the characters in the present time within the book. Our heroine is Chris. As a child she was kidnapped and then sexually abused up until her teens when she was finally able to get free. And now as an adult she has been adopted into a family who love and take care of her. This is set within the same world as The Professionals books which I've been reading, so it's set in Navasink Bank, and Chris is living with her adopted mother who runs a paramilitary organization, because of course she does. She's training Chris to eventually take over that operation. Chris, meanwhile, is also investigating on the side the people who kidnapped her when she was younger, with the intent of eventually one day taking out revenge on them. Our hero Finch has recently relocated to the town. He is a very proficient counterfeiter and he has decided to set up business in the town and he's only just getting settled in. All of that is disrupted one day when Chris comes through the door because she has discovered him. She needs someone to help fund her operation, and so she basically blackmails him into helping her. And as he begins to find out more of the reasons why she's doing what she's doing, he is less and less reluctant, and it's less about the blackmail that's keeping him helping her, and he becomes more invested in actually bringing about justice, obviously in this very vigilante kind of way. It's really fun, dark. It has a group of people who would do anything for each other. They are found family, which is something that I love, and I really enjoyed this one. So I'm very keen to go back and read the first book, which is about Chris's best friend, and I think that might give me a little bit more context, but you definitely can read this one without reading the first one. Then I read Born Darkly by Trisha Wolfe, which is not technically a romance because there's no happily ever after or happy for now at the end of the book, but it is sort of a lead-in. You can tell it's the first book in a duet that it's going to be a very dark romance by the end of the series. One would hope, I think. In the first book though, it's very much this thriller with threads of romance running through it. And this one is perfect for anyone who likes the Joker Harley Quinn dynamic within DC Comics, because it is the relationship between renowned psychologist London Noble and a serial killer called Grayson Pierce Sullivan. And Sullivan has been tried and convicted of serial murders in one state, but he's about to be tried in a second state that has the death penalty. And so he is brought before London for an interview to see if there's anything that she can add either to his testimony or to help put him away. The two have this very cat and mouse relationship. They're both incredibly smart. They're both incredibly broken, damaged individuals from their past. It is not for the faint of heart, but I loved it. And I fully blame reading Heart of Obsidian at the start of the month for this spiral into dark romance reading, because it just reminded me how much I love those interesting dynamics. There's definitely things that I won't read, but this one I could. But content warnings, you have a serial killer who is a serial killer. It's not that he's wrongly convicted. He did what he said he did, and quite gruesomely. And we get little insights into exactly what he does to his victims. So be aware of that going into it. And also London has some trauma in her past as well, which is revealed slowly throughout the book. It's dark, but it was really good and a very compelling read. And then finally, to lighten up my reading week, I reread Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross, and I actually reread this physically but also with the audio. Juliet Cross has the audiobook for Wolf Gone Wild coming out very soon with Podium Audio, I think. I had a review copy for the audiobook on NetGalley, which was the perfect opportunity to reread it. Let's be real. So I've talked about this series before. It is the first book in the Stay a Spell series. It is an independently published series and it follows a family of sisters who are witches, the Savoir sisters, and I have previously pronounced their surname incorrectly, so now I am fixing it in this video. In particular, in Wolf Gone Wild, we are following Evie Savoir, who is a hexbreaker. She is approached by Mateo Cruz, who is a werewolf who is unable to shift. His wolf is trapped within his body. He's unable to shift because of what he believes is a hex that's been placed on him by someone, and he doesn't know who, he doesn't know why. And typically the Savoir sisters don't really work with werewolves because in this world, werewolves are sort of seen as the lowest of the low of the supernatural creatures for reasons you find out within the book. But something about Mateo draws Evie in, and she is determined to help him break this hex, and not everything is as easy or complicated as it seems, but this series is about as close as you're going to get to romantic comedies in paranormal romance clothing, and it's absolutely delightful. My favorite parts in this book are whenever Evie and Mateo are talking Star Wars, because Evie is a Star Wars fanatic. Hello, I can relate. Yeah, it's a fantastic book. The audio itself is amazing as well. It's narrated by Joanna Fairview and Aidan Snow, and I have to say the absolute highlight was Aidan Snow doing Alpha's voice, because Alpha is the wolf side of Mateo, and because he's trapped inside Mateo, he started talking to him, and he's a very blunt, forthright character who knows what he wants. So he's constantly driving Mateo absolutely insane, but he is what he is and he wants what he wants. And so he just says it, and it's delightful. And Aidan Snow's characterization of him was amazing. I loved the audiobook. I loved the story itself. It was so great to reread the book with the audio. I loved it, and I will have a review for the audiobook on my blog very soon. So that is everything that I read in the last 7 days. I had a really great reading week, despite the fact that there wasn't very much of it. I was just very, very tired this week. I thoroughly enjoyed myself regardless. In the comments, I would love to know what you've been reading over the last week or the last couple of weeks. If you want to let me know that you were here but you don't want to leave a comment, feel free to leave me a moon emoji down below. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you are staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.